Work gets tiring at times, but being in a serene space ignites a lot of relief and energy in you. Having a clean, spacious, and peaceful atmosphere as your workspace will not only make you comfortable, but it will also help you deliver well. Here are 3 decent and spacious spaces that is located at number 17 Wallace Johnson Street, Freetown City Council Building, 10th floor, in Power Africa. There is electricity supply, water supply, internet facility, and the space is fully furnished. The cost for each of these spaces is $1,500 per month. There is also a decent space for meetings. Elevate your business in a professional environment designed for success. Discover your next workspace with Empower Africa. If you are interested in this property, kindly contact this number 076 303 100, or you visit us at 49 Circular Road, 3rd floor. With Global Salon, experience the difference. Hello and welcome to the Focus on Real Estate live talk show, where we provide valuable knowledge and information on laws, regulations, and procedures on buying, selling, renting, and leasing all types of properties. This show hosts different guests who are experts to share their knowledge and experiences on issues relating to the real estate industry. We also look at what the government and other institutions are doing to help solve many problems relating to the real estate industry. Problems like environmental protection, climate change, and many more. In today's 7th episode, we are going to delve into the challenges faced by our Sierra Leonean brothers and sisters living abroad when investing in the real estate markets back home. We will explore the intricacies of distance, cultural nuances, legal hurdles, and the potential solutions and opportunities that await them in the dynamic Sierra Leone real estate landscape. For this amazing discussion, we have with us a special guest who is a housing development and finance professional. He has also served as chairman of the board for Energy Services Company Limited, Sierra Estate Management Company. He also has experience in property marketing, project management, and many more. His name is Mr. Patrick Olufemi Beckley. Being the fact that he's been in the diaspora for a while now, and he also has major knowledge on issues that are related to the real estate industry, he will take us through this sensitive topic today. Hello and welcome to the show, Mr. Beckley.
Good morning, and thank you, Khadija, for hosting me on this show this morning.
Okay.
Thank you for the introduction. I think I feel very pleased that you know a little bit of my background. And I must say I'm very familiar with the development landscape in Sierra Leone, having served over 40 years in various sectors. And I believe my background and my knowledge and experience gives me, you know, that confidence to be able to speak on issues relating to the real estate industry. The Sierra Leonean diaspora basically forms a very serious component of the Sierra Leonean population, in the sense that, in as much as it's small in number, about 400,000 persons, it contributes substantially to the Sierra Leone economy, approximately 143 million United States dollars in 2023. And these personal transfers and remittances basically are meant to satisfy some social, some emotional, and some investment objectives. And of course, we know a lot of families in Sierra Leone today do rely on support they get from family members overseas for their daily sustenance. Such remittances also go towards helping out with education, health, but most importantly, a lot of it goes towards supporting the development of a real estate objective. This could be the purchase of a piece of land somewhere in Sierra Leone. It could be in Freetown or somewhere up in the provinces. It could also be the need to renovate, rehabilitate a family home, which basically must be dilapidated in some way, or maybe improving the facilities, such as the installation of a new toilet facility, the erection of an additional water tank, the provision of access to the property itself, or maybe providing some form of security features, such as fencing, etc., to be able to ensure the safety of the inhabitants. So we see Sierra Leoneans in the diaspora contributing tremendously to the real estate development of the built environment in Sierra Leone. I must say, of course, that while most of these investments have been on housing, we believe there is also a very great potential in sort of investments in other sectors of the real estate industry itself. By that I mean there is very much of a need for investments in commercial real estate, that is the development of shops, stores, office space, industrial space, as well as the provision of warehousing and other infrastructural services. I remember during the period 2009 to 2013 and 2014, I was fully involved in the development of Sierra Leone's first post-war special economic zone in Newton, wherein we put aside 50 acres of land, to encourage potential diasporans to set up shop and establish industries. I'm happy to say the first pineapple and mango juice factory was located in that zone. And hereafter, we've seen a lot of other activities in the development of special economic zones springing up in various parts of the country. So the real estate industry actually creates a lot of opportunities for diaspora and investments. Uh, there are a couple of challenges that face the diaspora. First of all, he is not home to be able to follow up his intentions and therefore relies on the little advice he may get from relatives and friends. In a country where the real estate profession has not actually been able to come together and establish a formidable professional institution that could sort of direct the affairs of the market, most diasporans rely on family and friends to be able to guide them in sort of undertaking their enterprises. And this is causing a lot of heartbreaks, I would say. It causes a lot of disasters wherein money is sunk and the objectives are not fully realized. And in some cases, disputes regarding, issues of land and ownership end up in the courts and may last for several years without being handled. So the challenge is basically one, we operate in a space where the market in itself, I would say it's not very much regulated, and the actors and the players need to be properly identified so that we'll be able to know exactly who is a real estate professional that will be able to provide the services which are needed by the public. For today, anybody, irrespective of your background, except maybe for criminal records, could actually come up and establish a real estate office and provide services to the public, either for the purchase, for the sale, for the lease, or for the development of property anywhere in the country. And basically, this is not regulated, and there's no law or no rule that basically stops anybody from conducting business in this area. Unlike other professional services, wherein you need to be a registered professional to be able to serve, the public, in Sierra Leone, we don't have a professional institution that sort of regulates operators within the sector. So therefore, the public basically is left at the mercy of people who basically do in some cases don't have the professional expertise or the background to be able to provide the services which are required. Secondly, there's very much of a cultural belief and reliance on friends and family. And I believe that's as a result of the fact that this professional institution does not exist. And therefore, people believe they could actually rely on friends and family to be able to conduct their investments and conduct their affairs. We've seen situations where basically diasporans go back home only to be shown empty pieces of land in areas wherein, family home must have should have been developed, or investments basically which actually have not even taken off the ground, and for which substantial amounts of United States dollars or British pounds sterling have been invested. So this reliance on, relations and family has actually caused a lot of hurt. It has caused a lot of, disappointed diasporans to sort of just avoid the issue of looking at real estate investment opportunities in Sierra Leone. The third issue I sort of want to delve on today would be the issue relating to, you know, uh, free of litigation title for landed property in the country. I mean, we do have a registration of titles, and basically anybody could come up to the Administrator General's office to register a property, but then that property could actually be registered in 3 or 4 different names. So which means there is that contention of who actually is the owner of, the property in question. And this is where I see the New Land Commission playing a very key role in making sure that we are able to have deeds registered and be able to ensure that, you know, ownership in itself is protected so that people would be able to own their property and rely on the registration which they've already made. Finally, I think I'll touch on the absence and the lack of choices for housing finance and property real estate financing in the country, and very low rates of return on investments, which basically sort of frustrates uh, diaspora and investments in the real estate industry. I'll just stop on those 4 issues and basically take the discussion further. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for outlining some of these challenges to us. So, in that regard, what are some of how does let's say distance and lack of local presence affect the diaspora's ability to navigate or invest in Sierra Leone real estate industry?
Most of the activities relating to investments in the industry have to be on a one-on-one basis, which means your presence is very important. And if you're not present, basically, it's so difficult to navigate, especially when we don't have a one-stop arrangement. Let's take, for example, the issue of land conveyances. Starting off with the surveys, you need a surveyor basically who is a professional, a registered land surveyor, certified, who'd be able to conduct your survey, be able to secure the approval of the Director of Surveys and Lands, and after which, of course, this thing would be sort of charted on a cadastral map, and then basically it could form part and now certified to form part of a conveyance. That process could take you approximately 50 to 75 days. And that's a very long time for any investor who wants to come in and handle business almost immediately. We've seen cases wherein these conveyances take time, and it's very difficult for you to be able to navigate that process. So the absence of a one-stop shop for land registration and conveyancing is a very serious bottleneck and a serious problem for absentee owners of landed property in the country. I basically would want to also to refer to the fact that most diasporans, have to, travel back home, and the cost of travel, is very expensive. You need to be out there to be able to navigate the whole process, ensure that, I mean, you get value for money. And, that means you have to be away from home, you have to be away from your family, you have to take off from work. And that's our money, which basically is spent in order to be able to, secure a service. And I'm pretty sure if these services were available online, one should be able to go online and, you know, conduct a survey, be able to sort of navigate the process of registration of a title, and, you know, at a cost, of course, which basically would ensure you don't have to travel thousands of miles back to Sierra Leone to be able to undertake these activities. Most of the operators in the market today, I would say a majority of them are not professionally competent enough to be able to operate in the field. But every day you see in WhatsApp messages, in newspapers, land agents, property agents selling and buying and undertaking activities of a real estate nature, basically for which they are not professionally competent. And most of these cases have sort of caused considerable damage to the financial stability of many diasporans. I would also want to add basically the
Okay.
need for, like once you've secured the land, the need for you to be able to get a competent professional architect that will be able to do your design, which basically is in conformity with the planning regulations, and also which basically, is feasible, that is, it could be done and would actually meet the planning conditions. Uh, Not everybody has that capacity to go through an architect. We see a lot of draftsmen around conducting architectural plans, and basically these go through the Sierra Leone Institute of Architects and Engineers, some of them before they actually approved for construction. But then let's go through the building permit process. This takes time. You actually need to be able to, make sure you go through the Ministry of Housing again to be able to secure a building permit. And that building permit should last you for at least a year, so you'll be able to complete. But not all houses are conducted in a period of 1 year. So which means the process of renewal of building permits also takes time. And therefore, these are some of the problems you have to face, especially when you live abroad. And these are all the issues why there's a need for us to be able to start thinking of having professionals in the country that could represent our interests. Professional real estate agents and brokers that will be able to take us through the process, that will be able to coordinate our activities with the other professionals, be able to secure contractors that are qualified, that will be able to provide the appropriate mixes, will be able to appropriate standard materials for the construction of houses. I mean, I've seen houses basically which are constructed by, plumbers and masons who virtually do not have the professional competence to do those kind of structures. And what we see at the end of the day are properties basically that, one, are not properly oriented. Two, they basically do not have the structural integrity for you to be able to certify that they could actually pass through planning permission approvals. We also do not, look at the issues of infrastructure services, access to the land itself, the need for us to ensure that location basically has the wherewithal, that is the provision of services, infrastructure services, including the electricity and water supply, availability to the land in question. Uh, with climate change being a very serious issue today, it's so important that location becomes a key factor that any serious investor would look into before actually putting his money. And I think it's also important that when we go through with our contractors, we're able to secure, you know, bills of quantities, we're able to secure plans that basically represent the properties we're investing in. and also ensure that the end result, that is the product in itself, you know, is the outcome we expected at the start and therefore represents exactly what we bargained for. A lot of our relationships are based on trust. There's very little or no agreements absolutely between the clients and the professional contractor. And therefore, these trust arrangements basically do not last very long. And by the end of the day, the client basically gets scammed in one way or the other. And that leads to a lot of, legal tussles. So there's a need for us to actually be able to start looking at very serious legal agreements that represent our interests so that the professionals we engage are actually committed to the services we engage them for, and that what we pay for is real value for money. I mean, we get real value for money, and we should be able to be assured that whoever is practicing on our behalf or representing our interests should be qualified enough to be able to carry on with the investments and be able to secure the necessary permits, be able to secure a team of professionals that will be able to provide professional advice so that the outcome basically represents the original intention of the investor. I see SierraLeoneans are now coming up a lot in terms of setting up Airbnb as an opportunity for investments. We see them a lot coming up for opening up of stores and hotels, etc. And these are very good indications of the fact that there is a potential, but that potential has to be properly managed.
Okay. Um, Thank you very much, Mr. Becklin. So basically, for me, what I've noted based on your statement, it's the fact that the major challenge that we are facing in the real estate market is the issue of not having real estate professionals, right? So, in that light, how or what can be done to ensure that we incorporate more of real estate professionals in the entire system to ensure that whatever thing that they are doing, they'll have these people to guide them professionally. Like you stated earlier, because we lack the opportunity to have these uh, um, agents, professional agents or brokers, we experience the fact that a lot of people that are investing in the real estate industry do not, have what they want or do not get what they're expecting. So, what are the things that can be done to ensure that these people are being, regulated?
I must first of all, give kudos and congratulations to a lot of very genuine, legitimate real estate agents that have been practicing over the years. I mean, I remember Majay basically, who started, this activity sometime in the 70s, basically did a fantastic job in starting up an industry that basically was a novelty in Sierra Leone. I mean, that sort of, led to, the development of now, today we have Global Salon, for example, we have VSL, we have Sierra Leone Property Solutions, and other organizations that are actually well set up and have been able to provide a fantastic service to the Sierra Leonean community. But when I can only mention a few in the midst of a plethora of needs by Sierra Leoneans for professional services, we need to be able to train a lot more professionals in real estate management, property management, uh, valuation and appraisals, uh, feasibility and viability analysis and studies, and you know all those activities that belong to the built environment. We need to train and locally train, I would say, Sierra Leoneans in those professions so that at the end of the day, we have professionals that will be able to provide the services which the community requires. Secondly, I believe there's a need for an organization of, Sierra Leone Association, for example, of real estate appraisers, real estate managers, who would be able to represent fully the hopes and aspirations of the clients. And this organization, I must say, should be like other professional institutions in the country, such as architects and medical doctors, lawyers, for example, be regulated by law, so that you can not only wake up in the morning and jump into the profession without having been properly, vetted and be able to satisfy the requirements and the conditions. So there has to be a regulated organization whose membership, comprises of professionals that could actually operate within the industry and are recognized by the government. So I think regulation for me is key. Uh, Training, professionals with caliber and integrity that we're able to provide the services which the community needs is another very important aspect.
Okay, thank you very much. So, basically, yeah, in terms of the opportunities that await these Sierra Leonean diasporans, um, earlier you stated that the focus is mainly or mostly being put on housing, right? So, can you please just delve into some of these opportunities aside from housing?
Um, First of all, I must say, housing actually constitutes a very large component. Sierra Leoneans abroad and in the diaspora are looking for one, maybe renovating the family home, improving its condition and facilities. And we take a lot of social pride in that, ensuring that our families, our extended family basically is well housed, especially now that we've come abroad and been able to see, the kind of facilities which are available out here. So there's always a need for us to say our family members should also benefit from the same. Secondly, we're also looking at having retirement homes. I mean, having worked for a lifetime here in the US, you're thinking of coming back home to peaceful retirement in property that is, in your name, fully registered, that has all the necessary conveniences and facilities. And also, we're looking at opportunities basically that has, you know, an investment potential, which means we could sell and be able to secure a return on the investment. We could lease over time so that we're able to get annual revenues that would upkeep us during our retirement days. And we're also seeing, as I did say, interest in commercial real estate, especially downtown Freetown and up in the suburban jurisdictions, where basically we're seeing shops, offices coming up. And these are all very good potentials. I think they do have a potential to provide a substantial rate of return on the investments if they're properly managed. And we should also, look at, the provision of, you know, very short in supply warehousing down, by the, Freetown Water Key area. So that, importers and exporters will be able to have large warehousing facilities where they could store their goods and services. So I see a great potential for Sierra in the diaspora who are interested in real estate to go beyond the housing market and start looking at other aspects, including warehousing, industrial development, commercial real estate, and other services. But one thing I see basically right now is that the need for real estate professionals to wake up and be able to provide a professional service that the clients will be satisfied with, and of course, once you provide the service, people will come to you instead of going to, the wayside, agents that basically do not have an inclination of what actually needs to be done when you're handling a real estate decision.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Beckley. So, basically, there is a particular issue of trust between those in the diaspora and those that are here, right? Because earlier you stated that a lot of people from the diaspora, they've been sending their hard-earned money, to families, ensuring or expecting that they will make these necessary investments for them on their behalf. So, due to various disappointments that they've received from family members, they do not even want to go ahead to make any investment in their country. They just prefer staying there, maybe just come once in a while, have fun, and then they go back. So, what will be your advice to these people and any recommendation to them? Because they have so much fear in their heart, and a lot of them do not want to invest so much without having the necessary outcome that they are expecting. So are there any recommendations or advice for these kinds of people?
My advice basically would be you need to deal with a professional that could bring together a team. Real estate investment is a process, and that process basically starts initially from putting together the concept. That concept basically would be a comprehensive feasibility viability analysis that will be able to show that what you intend to do and achieve is feasible, that is, it is possible. And secondly, what you hope to achieve or do is viable. That is, it has good rates of return and will be able to recoup the investment and also provide, a profit over time. And these are things that basically can only be done by professionals in the industry. So reliance on professional advice, I would say, is key. Secondly, real estate investment requires a team. You need to put teams together, starting off with a lawyer that will be able to draw up the conveyancing, legal agreements, financing agreements, construction agreements. It's 11 hours. You also need a proper certified land surveyor that will be able to conduct your cadastral surveys and be able to ensure that this surveys basically represents in totality the land area on which the property is going to be developed. Thirdly, you need financiers that will be able to look at the financial model and be able to say, yes, this represents exactly the anticipated costs, anticipated revenues and returns that are expected, and be able to give you an internal rate of return analysis that will justify the investment. But this, if you say you're going to look at these professionals all by yourself, then that would be extremely difficult. You need a real estate professional who will be able to put together the team and be able to guide you. Thirdly, these one-on-one, word-by-mouth agreements do not work. They only continue to, create problems for the investor. Let's have binding agreements that basically represents the intention of the parties, right, the outcomes which are expected. So those are the kind of suggestions I'll make here. Get a professional and make sure everything is written down and agreed upon.
Okay, thank you very much. So finally, looking at the aspect of distance, how can technology or innovation be leveraged to bridge the gap between the Sierra Leonean diaspora and some of the opportunities that you've listed earlier in the real estate market in Sierra Leone?
I would say, first of all, I would want to see a digital land conveyance system. And this relates to basically the Administrator General's Office, the Ministry of Lands, and the Land Commission. Here I most clearly states that the Land Commission should not be a duplication of the Ministry of Lands. The Land Commission should be an institution on its own, a professional institution that will be able to execute on behalf of the Sierra Leonean public, while the ministry continues to deal on, policy matters. Land conveyancing, land surveying, land registration should be the components on which this land commission should thrive. So I think that dichotomy, that difference between the activities of the Ministry of Lands and the Land Commission should actually be clearly distinguished. I would want to see a land commission basically that has a digital platform wherein somebody in the United States could actually apply for land or secure land in Krubola, for example, or in Pujaung, for example. and be able to go through the process of securing the approval of the principal members of the family, ensure that this property is actually properly vetted, properly surveyed, and registered in the name of the clients. Secondly, I would like to see, the establishment of digital platforms that can, sort of give out listings of real estate opportunities in the country. I must give kudos to VSL and Property Solutions and Global Salon for sort of taking the lead in this and being able to sort of show, members in the diaspora the opportunities which are available. But we need to take this a step further so that we'll be able to provide virtual 3D viewings so that, a client, for example, could actually go into your, platform and be able to view, for example, the house at Juba Hill, both externally and internally, just by looking at the website and being able to, plug in and look at the opportunities which the investment provides. So virtual 3D viewing for me would be very important. I'd also want to see processes of, online building permit approvals. I don't have to go to the Ministry of Housing to go waste 2 weeks, 3 weeks just to secure a building permit. There should be a way and a means by which I could actually go online and be able to, apply for building permits, submit the necessary documents, and within a couple of days or weeks, be able to secure my building permit instead of having to, make several trips to the ministry. So online processes basically for conveyancing, building permits, processing basically online, and also 3D viewing and listings by local real estate consultants will be very important to be able to sort of reduce, that back and forth arrangements which most diasporans have to go through. I know of friends here who have had to travel 3 or 4 times to Freetown only to find out at the end of the day that the property which they've invested in on so much, turns out to be the property of somebody else. And these are all lost opportunities and lost investments. So, there's a lot of opportunity with digital services and technologies. And I think that could bridge the gap, between the diaspora basically and the investment opportunities in the country.
Okay, thank you very much. So, basically, at Global Salon, we have a particular project that we title Property Tour Series, just throwing light on what you've stated earlier, sir. What we did as a team is to ensure that we go to a particular property that we've listed or that is up for sale. We ensure we tour all aspects and give all necessary information online to our clients or potential investors out there. So these informations, if someone wants to buy that particular property, all you need to do is to just go on YouTube or Facebook. You can get the opportunity, or even on TikTok, you can get the opportunity to see some of these features of a particular house that we have listed. So as a team, we are ensuring to guide, not only guide, but also make these necessary information very much easier to access and available to our potential clients and clients out there. So I believe we're doing well, and we hope to improve more in that particular aspect. And finally, sir, we are super blessed to have this particular session with you, because I believe these informations that you've presented to our viewers will help them greatly in their quest to make certain investments or maybe search for properties out there. Thank you so much,
One
sir.
more
We
thing I would
really,
like
really
to
do
add
appreciate.
basically relates to the issue of
Okay.
the payments. If I could talk about payments a little bit, in Sierra Leone, the legal currency is the Leone. But you ask for a property today to rent, it's stated in dollars, United States dollars or British pounds. That's illegal. So professionals should be able to bring out this to the landlords and property owners that you cannot be charging dollars and Leon and pound sterling in a country where basically the Leon is the legal tender. So I think these are issues basically,
Yeah, yeah.
they affect the diaspora investor who basically does not know, in which currency he should be paying for the services he's getting. And, issues relating to the banking sector as well. I mean, how much equity do I need to be able to secure a loan for financing a real estate investment in Sierra Leone? I mean, can the central bank, for example, come in and be able to guide, to what extent would, local financing from the banks be able to, provide mortgage financing, for example? Here we have TAF, just started with their developments at John Obey, and very few Sierra Leoneans could actually provide the kind of funds which are required for buying these houses on a lump sum basis. What is needed, therefore, is an intervention by the banking institutions providing mortgage financing for people to be able to afford, these mortgages over a long period of time. And when I say long period, I mean between the 15 to 25 or 30-year tenure period. So we should be looking basically at how could we, get our financial institutions to be able to come on board and serve the interests of the public. Right now, basically, most of the loan financing by the banks goes to the buying of treasury bearer bonds and public financing. So we need to see much of that going to the private sector as well, so that we could catalyze, we could sort of leverage, on the provisions by the financial services and institutions in the country.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Beckley. We appreciate the fact that you took your time to educate and sensitize the general public on some of these challenges and also potential opportunities that await them, and you recommended some of these solutions to us, and we hope to work as a team to see how best we can play our own part to improve the real estate industry in Sierra Leone. We hope to have you in our subsequent editions. Thank you so much, sir. God bless you.
Thank you, Khadija, and my regards to all the team at Global Salon. I appreciate you guys very much.
Okay, sir. Thank you too.
Thank you.
So this is how we have successfully come to the end of today's episode. If you have questions, comments, or recommendations, kindly send us a message, and we hope to share them or talk on them in our subsequent edition. I've been your amazing host, Khadija Tubai. Thank you. Work gets tiring at times, but being in a serene space ignites a lot of relief and energy in you. Having a clean, spacious, and peaceful atmosphere as your workspace will not only make you comfortable, but it will also help you deliver well. Here are 3 decent and spacious spaces that is located at number 17 Wallace Johnson Street, Freetown City Council Building, 10th floor, in Power Africa. There is electricity supply, water supply, internet facility, and the space is fully furnished. The cost for each of these spaces is $1,500 per month. There is also a decent space for meetings. Elevate your business in a professional environment designed for success. Discover your next workspace with Empower Africa. If you are interested in this property, kindly contact this number 076 303 100, or you visit us at 49 Sakila Road, 3rd floor. With Global Salon, experience the difference.